And today we have a guest who is literally surfing royalty. We've had some amazing guests in the past on the show, but quite literally, this is a living legend. And the word legends gets used quite easily sometimes, but not in this case. Today, our very special guest, the one and only Joey Cabell.
I feel very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, mate. We've grown up, I grew up in Australia, and I spent time at Manly Beach.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
And the 1964 World Championships were there.
I was there.
Yep. And great midget Farrelly and Mike Doyle, first and second, and you were there.
That's right.
And so I knew of that moment in time, and I've watched your career and how you have innovated and influenced the sport of surfing and the culture of surfing for a very long time. You're born in 1938 in Honolulu.
That's correct.
Yep. Tell us a little bit about Mum and Dad.
Well, my mother grew up in Minnesota, Clarkfield, Minnesota, on a farm. They got together in Hawaii, got married, so on. Then World War II, Pearl Harbor. Oh my God, I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
I lived right up the street from there, so I was right in the middle of it. Didn't remember all of that until my mother was evacuated with my dad, who joined the military right away. We were on a convoy and we left right after Pearl Harbor. And my first memory is sitting on the railing of the ship. She was holding me, and I could hear, woo, 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 woo. The sound,
Of the sirens going.
Well, they were practicing in case there was an invasion.
Yeah. And there had already been one.
Well,
At Pearl Harbor, yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it was a bad time.
How does that influence you think, over your life, actually having experienced, a world war and a bombing in your own backyard?
After the war, I was shining shoes in Waikiki.
Right.
And all the service people were coming into Waikiki, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they had their shiny shoes on and their white outfits on, Sitting down on a bench, I go, hey, buddy, you want to shine? If I can guess how many kids your mother had in one guess, you take a pay shine. If I guess it wrong, I'll give you a free shine. Because they figure they're going to lie to this little boy.
Yeah.
Your mother didn't have any kids because kids are billy goats. Put your foot on my shoe shine box.
And how old were you when you were doing that?
Oh, I
had that hustle?
About 8.
Wow,
9,
mate.
maybe, 8 or 9, pretty young.
So that entrepreneurial spirit that we've all seen you explore throughout your career into so many different avenues, that was there as a young boy. You were on the street making some as a young boy.
Making some money. So anyway.
Good on you, mate.
Can I tell you, if I tell you where to get a piece of ass, you're going to take a pay shine, okay? And all these wanted a piece of ass, of course, right?
Yeah, yes. What's this one?
Reach in your back pocket and squeeze.
That is gold. You were cheeky, mate.
No, it worked. So I'd go home with $5 of 25-cent coins in my pocket.
Unreal.
And I'd put my shoe shine box in the banyan tree right there by the benches.
Right.
Okay, so it was easy to get to the next day. But in the meantime, I'd go out and surf at Queens. 2 times, sometimes 3 different sessions a day.
Perfect.
You come back and shine.
In between shining.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I read they were calling you the King of Queens.
Yeah, I had my turn there. But, when you grow up as a very young boy, like when I was going to 3rd grade on a bus, I saw Queens.
Yeah.
I said, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So what I did is I found a redwood board, a real small one, and I asked somebody in the back street, can I put this board behind your panty cage?
Right.
And I had to drag it from there into the water and back and forth. And so that's how it all started, right? But, in those days, you had a lot of really good local surfers, right?
Yeah.
Squirrely Cavallo was one of the better ones at the time, and Rabbi Kekai, and it goes on. Mm-hmm. So, when you're young, you're in the back of the line catching waves, right?
Yes.
So you had to earn it. You
Yeah.
know, you had to earn respect. It's an important thing in surfing at any age. You have to earn respect to get a ride.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it all went down.
And those who don't have the willingness, the time, the courage, all of those elements, just don't put in the time and don't get those good ones.
Right, I know. That's
And you
very
did.
true. That's very true. But anyway,
Yes.
this respect thing
Yes, please.
went on and on, okay? But in those earlier days, there was a lineup of people catching waves, but as you got really good, you could catch on somebody's outside and hold them back in so they couldn't make the waves. So
Yes.
so that went on at the time,
Yes.
in the early days at the time. But, you know, then let's get back to that first world contest.
Please.
Okay, so here I am in this contest, and, you know, surfing at the peak of my surfing, one of my peaks. Anyway, I dropped into Midget Farley. I dropped in on him 2 different times.
Yeah.
And, you know, because there was no rules in those days yet,
Yes.
but that was where it started, from that event, to put rules on, drop-in rules, and surf contests.
I heard that. I heard on the grapevine, I just, you know, when you read and research, that you could have placed higher if it
No,
wasn't kind of that situation.
Everybody said I won it,
Yeah.
but that's all right.
Yeah, and that was just
That was-
a defining moment in the sport's evolution,
Yeah, it's
right?
okay. It's all history anyway, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I learned eventually, because we didn't know that in Hawaii.
Right, right.
If you're that good, you'd ride on somebody's outside and hold them in. It was a
You're
game.
right.
It was a game, right?
Yep.
But anyway, I think from that event, that's when the drop-in rule took effect.
Yes. And did you get to know Midget personally at all throughout your
Yeah.
careers?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We were friends. We talked to each other, and so he came to Makaha
Yes.
and surfed Makaha before, and I was there, so I saw him there, and it was a good chance to meet him and talk to him.
Yeah, you won Makaha in 1963 in Big Surf, and the story goes then you went over to the Malibu Invitational and won that in Small Surf.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
kind of proved at that point, 1963, which was the year I was born,
Oh,
by
good.
the way. I was
Good
born in
going.
63. So it was a good year for both of us.
Yeah, right.
And proved to everyone there that you could ride any size wave, and you were always referred to as stylish and precise, and a beautiful surfer. What is it about surfing that made you fall in love with it after you saw it out the window of the bus?
Well, that was it. I wanted it.
You wanted it.
And I tell young children that are going to school, why are you in this class? You're going to be a senior soon? And why are you in school? What do you want to do with your life? And a lot of them don't have a clue why they're doing this. And I said, okay, you really, you're going to go through this procession. You want to know who you want to be and what you want to do. And if you don't, when you finish your school, your classes, and you're done, if you don't know, you'll be riding a surfboard with no fin.
Yeah, right.
Rudderless. Out of control.
Right.
In your life.
Yeah.
That was always a nice way to share my experience.
And the importance of being clear about what you want and where you're going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did that moral or ethic come for you? Because you achieved so much over, whether it was the canoe paddling, the catamaran sailing, you were a pioneer in that.
You have to want it, then you have to earn it.
Yes. Voila. Pretty simple, eh?
Simple as that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Being selected by Duke Kahanamoku, the most, famous and sort of respected surfer of all time, for him to come to you as a young man and see elements in your personality that he went, this is a guy that could represent my name.
Well,
That's a big deal.
it all started with Kimo McVeigh. He's the one that put that surf team together. It was 4 of us. I was one of the 4.
Yep.
And the Duke too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Amazing. You, Fred Hemmings, Butch Van Artsdalen, and Paul
Paul
Stroud.
Stroud, yeah.
What a lineup! Four of the greatest surfers and influencers in our sport ever. And was there anything that Duke shared with you, told you throughout that interaction that stuck with you for the long haul?
Well, I asked him questions about his early surfing, and his big famous ride that was way past the Outrigger Canoe Club, way out there,
Right.
way deep when it got really 20 feet or more.
Right.
He could ride it right on through, which he did, all to the Moana Hotel on the beach.
Yeah. All the way.
And so we talked about that.
Yep.
Then another thing I was very interested in was his swimming
Yes.
achievements. So his first real big event was in Honolulu Harbor.
Right.
And so, it was questionable whether it's a good place to do that. There was a lot of questions about it,
Yeah.
and whether he would be recognized if he did well there, which he did. He won all those races,
Right. Right.
and he went on after that.
To the Olympics.
Yeah.
And that moment at the Olympics where he was late for the race and the Australians kind of went, well, we're not going to swim, we want to swim against the best. That started a relationship between our nations
Yes.
that's lasted a very long time. And something that I was, as an Australian, the fact that they went, no. Other nations were like, let's swim without him, we're a chance of winning if he's not here. But the Aussies didn't want to do that. They wanted to wait and swim with the Duke, and if they were going to swim, they wanted to swim against the best, and he ended up winning it, and Cecil Healy, the Australian, got second. It's a fantastic story.
Yeah, it is a good story.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Back to the swimming,
Yes.
you mentioned that. Is it true that you swam around or swam the Hawaiian Islands?
No, that got stretched way too far.
Perfect. It's a good story.
But
Yeah.
on the coastline of Kauai,
Yes.
Nepali
The
coast,
Nepali coast.
I did swim that.
That's 17 miles, isn't
Yeah,
it?
about that.
Yeah.
With Mike Doyle,
Yeah, the two of you
and there was another couple that was
swim with you.
swimming with us. So when we started that, Mike just moved into my house in Wainea Valley. He came from his work on the East Coast, right?
Right.
And I go, Mike, tomorrow we're going to swim Nepali Coast. Are you ready to do it? He said, yeah, okay. But then Rusty Miller was with us, and he said no.
Yeah. Well, that's a massive undertaking.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that. Because we're just getting ready to have winter, right?
Yes.
And Honolulu gets really big, really big. And so the idea is, there's no leashes yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you lose your board, the current can take it out to sea.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be a good swimmer. And so the idea was to make the swim, so when the surf came up, which it did,
Yeah.
and we were there for it,
Yeah.
after the long swim.
And you knew you were ready.
Yeah, I'm totally ready, of course.
Yeah.
After swimming that far.
After swimming that far. How was surfing the breaks of the North Shore, Waimea when it was big without a leash, Pipeline? At least
Yeah.
the Pipeline's close to the shore, I
Yeah,
suppose.
because
Sunset, that current that goes out past Canny Land.
It'll take you right out.
Yeah.
But the key of Sunset is you want to paddle. If you lose your board, you want to swim into the break.
Mm-hmm.
And let the current take you to the beach. Otherwise, you're going to go out.
Yeah, if you start going to the channel,
No, you're not going to do that. No,
no, you won't get to the beach.
you swim in to the left to go inside of the break,
Yeah.
and then go to the beach.
You know, when people from all around the world started coming to surf the North Shore and it started turning into that mecca of world surfing that it is today, how were the Aussies you encountered back then? Do you remember a guy called Bob Pike?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I never met Bob, but I know deeply of his commitment, and he came over and was a gentleman by all accounts.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
But all Australians were gentlemen.
Right.
It's a lifestyle for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, surfing, I lived at, when I grew up at Palm Beach, Whale Beach, Avalon on the northern beaches of Sydney, and that's where Midget was living. And at the end of, the last decade of Midget's life, I would see him on multiple occasions at the beach, and we'd sit at a table.
And talk story.
Talk story, mate. And he shared so much with me.
Oh.
And I got to, we were good friends, mate. I felt like he opened up and he could say things to me that he couldn't say to publicly or whatever else.
Sure.
And he'd share with me.
And did you record any of that?
No, they were just personal conversations, me and him sitting there watching the surf. And then to the concept, because he was an action sport person, not just a surfer as well. He was doing hang gliding, skiing, just like yourself, in that same vein, with lots of
lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Was that always part of the plan? Because obviously the ocean has massive appeal and attraction.
Well, the ocean was first.
Yeah.
Growing up surfing really young, on a regular basis, and really loving it and getting it down and participating on a weekly basis every year, every week.
Yeah.
Okay, it started like that. Yeah. So that's how you got into it, right?
Yeah.
So the other lifestyles were interesting too, because skiing and snowboarding I did really heavily.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to go to the mountains to ski, I know I needed to put in a restaurant. I needed to do some work because I did that work in Honolulu, so I had a handle on it.
Right.
Of how to do it and all that.
Yep.
So in 1961, I opened up the first chart house. And this was in Aspen, Colorado, with my partner who was from Wind and Sea, Buzzy Bent.
Right, Buzzy Bent.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good skier and also a very good surfer too. So we hit it off right away. And we were working together at a restaurant, and then we decided, let's do our own restaurant here. So we drove to Sun Valley thinking Aspen was too crowded.
Right.
Aspen in those days had only one road paved through it. 82 that went over the pass and gone. Everywhere else was dirt roads throughout the whole
village or
Aspen area, right?
Right.
So we went to Sun Valley, and we go, no, let's come back to Aspen. And we're thinking of names, right? He goes, Chart Room. We're going to be nautical.
Right, yeah. Yep.
And the chart room is where charts are made on boats and ships. Mm-hmm. And I said chart house, and that seemed to stick. We came back and we found a location, remodeled us right across from the main lift one. And there we were.
There you were. Did you have some money you'd saved to do that, or did you get investors? How do you make that a reality? Because a lot of people have an idea, but to turn it into a reality and have it end up with a chain is...
Well, there wasn't a chain at first. It was just a simple one operation.
Yeah, first.
And that wasn't so expensive because we built it ourselves. We went in and did all the work.
Perfect.
Built all the tables and put sailing charts on it, glassed the charts over it. Yeah. And so it was possible to, financially to do that.
To do that yourselves and create
then as it grew, of course, you earned money from the first chart house to do the second one, which is in Newport Beach, California in '63. Kennedy was shot that day, which was it's a tremendous loss. First, after the save, it's a tremendous loss for our country. Mm-hmm. But, we were so busy. Everybody came in. We all got together and talked about it.
Yeah. I suppose people needed to get out and be around other people and
sure.
share in that moment. And
sure. Exactly.
It went off.
Exactly. I surfed a lot of contests up and down the California coast, so I was known by a lot of people, right, which helped the opening.
Yeah.
Because that made it possible to have business right away.
Your name would attract people. Yeah,
and just being there early and for 5 years or so hitting the coast.
Yeah. And at its peak, how many of them did you have going?
I started off with the first one.
Yep.
And the second one.
Newport.
And then my partner, Buzzy, with his UDT buddies, opened the third one in La Jolla, and it separated. And I came to Honolulu and opened Honolulu Chart House.
Yes.
which I did myself. No,
Yes.
no partners, nobody. And that went on for 60 years, 50 years.
Yeah. What a tribute to you and your intelligence and your ability to... That shoe-shining kid just kept making things happen, mate.
Well, you wanted it.
That's beautiful.
And getting back to what I was saying earlier, you have to want it.
Yeah.
And when you want it, it'll happen if you stay on it.
Yeah.
Keep wanting it.
Keep wanting it. And I suppose today people get instantly gratified by a screen and their minds are completely occupied instantly,
Right.
and they lose the work ethic and the ability to stay focused and committed to make something happen, like become a good surfer.
Well,
You've got to put in years, right?
You have to want it.
Yeah.
You don't get good without going on a wanting every swell. I used to drive from town to the North Shore. Never lived out here, right?
Right.
But every swell, I would drive to surf it.
Yeah.
That went on for quite a few years.
Tell us, which places do you like the most along the old 7 Mile Miracle?
Oh, gee, wherever there was waves.
Yeah, that's the answer.
You know, you can't
Thank you.
pick one over
Wherever
the other.
was good that day.
Wherever there was waves.
Yeah.
You go down the coast in your car and you check everything out, and there you go.
There's a spot. Waimea particularly must have been wild in those early days with that unsophisticated equipment.
Well, in the earlier days, this was in the late 40s, early 50s, early, before anyone went there yet.
Right, yeah.
And all of a sudden, it got so big at sunset that they freaked out, didn't want to go to the beach. They thought they'd paddle down the coast.
And find somewhere safe to come in.
Yeah, they're going to come in at Waimea, right?
Right.
But Waimea was huge, huge. So, make a long story short, one of the fellows, Woody Brown was the fellow that made it through without having an issue.
Okay.
The other one got caught and drowned.
On doing that, trying to get in at Waimea, he got...
One made it in and the other one drowned.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, this was way before anyone came over yet.
Yeah,
Way early,
Yep.
right? But when they started to come over, there was shiny shoes surfing in Waikiki. So I saw the first one all the way through. And we ended up going to Macau, surfing Macau.
yeah.
And Macau would get really big, and no one went to the North Shore yet because Macau was where everybody went
Yep.
in those earliest days.
Yeah,
Then all of a sudden, it started happening in 1967 or so.
righto.
That's when they started surfing North Shore
Yeah, not sure.
at Waimea.
Yeah. And you won the Duke Invitational, 69 at Sunset?
I did.
That must have felt like that was the biggest event in the world. That was the world title, so to speak, at that point in time.
It was a big deal, yeah, no doubt. I'm very honored to have won that. I won Macau 3 times.
Incredible.
63, 68, and 69.
68. I also read and I saw the footage of Forgotten Isle of Santosha
Uh-huh.
and Tamarin Bay.
They called me and they said, hey, we're over there now. Come on over. And I did. That's how we got
You
together.
got it. Guess what my daughter's name is?
Tell me.
Tamarin,
Oh, that's a nice name.
after Tamarin Bay.
Oh, that's a nice name.
And I've got a fun little story to tell you about it too. My wife and I went to Tamarin Bay, and we got there late at night. And in the morning, I'm asleep in bed, but I wake up to the sound of wax on a board. You know that sound of someone waxing their board? And I jump up because I can hear someone's waxing. I'm thinking, oh, it must be getting light. I look out the window, and it was Midget Farrelly running, who was waxing his board in the room next to me, just all coincidence. And he's running down the path to go surf Tamarin Bay.
Oh, really?
And I go, quick, we're late, quick. And we get up and we paddle out, and I surf Tamarin Bay with Midget.
So-
and that was like the first time we kind of connected on stuff. And
How big?
like 4 to 5 feet, like faces, 6 to 8 maybe.
Over your head?
Yeah, over your head.
Okay,
yeah,
8 feet. Yeah,
yeah, 6 to
easy.
8 foot
That's
faces.
a great wave, isn't it?
Beautiful wave, shallow down that inside too.
Yeah.
And when our daughter was going to be born, we were like, that trip to Tamarin Bay really imprinted itself on me. I loved it,
Yes.
and we called our daughter Tamarin. So
That's-
when I saw in my research that
Ah.
you'd been there, and then I saw the waves at Forgotten Isle of Santosha, I was like, oh, it's a good story to share with Joey. You know,
No,
it's
that's a good spot, good story. We all never will forget it.
Yeah, those glorious times you lived. You must be so happy that you got to live in the days and times that you did.
Really an honor to be a surfer.
Yeah.
I mean, it really became part of my life. And I did that continuously. My big years of success was all through the 60s. As I went around the world. I was right on my game, let's say.
Yeah, yeah.
So then, at the same time, for example, I went to Aspen and opened Chart House 61.
Yeah.
And in 63, I went to Honolulu to surf Makaha,
Oh,
63.
yeah.
Then I went right back to Aspen again. So I was doing kind of everything.
Yeah. You were creating businesses, skiing. I want to hear about the first time you saw snowboarding, because you skied before snowboarding and then
Yes.
had the single ski. Is that correct?
Okay,
Yeah.
single
How'd that work?
ski was a ski we had a vision of.
Right.
So after I was right after Makaha, I went and did the Duke, and after that, 69, I said, Mike, because he was in that contest too, we were pretty good friends, come to Aspen with me. We're leaving tomorrow. You can stay with me in Aspen. And we got there, and I was talking to him about a single ski, because no one had them yet. Or if they did, we didn't know, we just envisioned it.
Yeah.
And so what happened from that conversation, Mike went home and out of fiberglass, built a single ski and took it to Mammoth.
Right.
And he came back and said, oh my God, he got so excited. So then it went on from there, because he was working for surfboards, in the surfboard business, right?
Yep.
And he had 2 of them made in Europe, real ones, like a real ski,
Right.
but a single one.
Yep.
And we got them back.
Where the feet the bindings were
Boots were side by side.
side by side still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rails of the ski came right to the edge of the boot.
Right.
So anyway, we then took off with that. Went to Sun Valley, Jackson Hole, went all over it, and ripped the mountain up. Ripped it up. It was amazing, right? Because you weren't carving the way I do on my snowboard today.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that. But anyway, you were just shooting it. So you could shoot it and go as faster than anyone on the mountain, just because you didn't come apart.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that was really fun while that lasted. But, then snowboarding came right after that.
Right.
So, for me anyway,
Yeah.
it was coming from Europe already in Aspen. But I got excited about it, wanted to do it. And you have to earn that too, it's not free, right? But so here we are, getting better and better. And there was a fellow that snowboarded on the same mountain with us that was really a snowboarder, really a good one. And he kind of set the pace for carving.
Yeah.
So what we did in carving was, here's a slope going down.
Yep.
You drop in, you turn across the fall line, you come up the fall line, back down again, big powerful turns to come back up again, and no sliding. The board didn't slide it, not an inch,
Yeah.
but very, very powerful. So that was really fun. I raced on it a bit too. I did all that, but that's a different style in a way. But carving was the ultimate way to do it.
Yeah, I saw footage of you carving and I was like, oh my goodness. Because to get it up on a rail and drive and hold that rail without just slipping and shedding off speed's harder.
No
Powerful,
slipping.
like you said.
But from that technique on the snowboard, I put it in the skis.
Right.
because I could ski already, obviously really well.
Yeah.
But then to carve and to go back up the hill with 2 skis and no sliding, right? So that was an art. So
Yeah.
anyway, this is the sports that I was
Yeah.
going back and forth to do.
Why everybody does now.
Of
That's what you do. You're a
Yeah.
trendsetter, mate. You told us, you showed us
Yeah.
how to live.
Oh, no.
Yes, yes, yes. What about sailing and your catamaran and taking off into the great blue yonder? What did you love about that, and where did you go on those adventures?
This boat, Joe Quigg,
Yep.
you know who he
Know
is?
the great man. Or know of.
Amazing boat designer and builder of surfboards and shaper. He was really early and way more advanced than anyone
Right.
on the planet.
Yep.
So he's the one that helped. We had a vision. He made a boat earlier called Tekoveka, which he had the hulls, fiberglass
Yeah, yeah.
hulls to shape out of, to put the hull, to build a boat out of.
Yeah.
And I go, can we do another one of those, and so on. And that's how it all started. So I was with him from the start to the finish, building this boat.
Right.
And it was an amazing project.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've sailed it a lot, really a lot. Sailed it to Australia with 3 of us, and we had a very fast time of 9 days to get there.
Wow.
And and then we sailed around there, and then we brought it back, and I sailed it. We had an issue coming back. We lost the rig, the mast,
Oh.
which is a story in itself. And,
Yeah.
and we have a friend that made a movie
Right.
of this whole story, right?
Right. Spectrum. Joey
Spectrum.
Cabell, Legend of Surf. I want to see that because that
That's good because I had Mickey Munoz with me,
righto.
and I had this other fellow, Louis Wake, 3 of us.
Yeah.
And we went through 2 motos, Marquesas, and then we were crossing, right?
Yeah.
And Munoz was on the helm, and both other Louis Wake and myself were asleep.
Yeah.
And I hear Mickey screaming, "Ah!" So it wakes me right up. I run down and hold on to the rigging on the side of the hull, one of the rigging, and it was ripped out of my hand. And the mast, but what happened, you have to go back.
Yeah, please.
The spinnaker we're going downwind with the spinnaker, and it was very light, you needed it and all that. All of a sudden, when he left the helm, the boat rounded up, and the spinnaker filled in from the front. It
Collapsed on itself, kind of.
and just filled it wide open and pushed the mast and snapped it. I was holding the rigging right out of my hand.
What do you do then?
Well, there was an issue. It broke in half, 2 pieces. One of the pieces came down and hit Mickey on the shoulder. It could have killed him if it hit his head.
Yeah.
But there's a railing, there's a shoulder railing right this far below his shoulder that stopped it going any farther. But he was totally stunned and out of it.
Yeah.
I had to carry him in on a cutting board in the cabin, and he was there for a bunch of days. Anyway, the other Louis Wake and myself, we dove in the water. The sun was just coming up. We dove in the water, and we had to take the rig apart, take the 2 pieces of the mast, 2 sections, 1 section, sails first, everything, rigging, everything, put it on board, and then take the rig that's broken in half, the mast, in 1 section on one side of the cabin down to the other side. And that took us all day.
Just
to
to position it where you could work on it.
To do that, just in the ocean, right? Or here we are. So anyway, we had to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, because we didn't even stop to think about it. We just automatically had to do that. Munoz was in the cabin, totally out of it. And the 2 of us got that done. It's starting to get dark, we go to sleep, floating around with no rig. We had to have food, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there was some food, we had to share that. And it took us 2 weeks, all in all. But when we did get out, we put a rig up, we took the mast I put the rig of the boom in place of the mast, 16-foot boom, and that became the new mast, and tied it off with spinnaker lines 4 ways. And rigs, whatever sails we could figure out the rig.
Yeah.
So we're going along, not moving, right, after rigging our sailing craft.
Yeah.
And eventually, when a day or so was not a trickle of water from the back of the boat, then all of a sudden we see this trickle, and we start celebrating. Yes, here we go.
It's starting to move. We're moving.
We're moving. So then all of a sudden, in a number of days, we got into the real strong winds, and we're doing 16 knots. With that rig, nothing.
Docked it up.
Anyway,
Handled.
we got into Hilo,
Yep.
checked in and all that. And we then left the next day, and they couldn't believe we were going to sail that away, but we did. And we went in, as we're going into the channel there, on the way to between Molokai and Oahu, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're starting to drop in. We go, Mickey and I started crying. It's over. We're over. We're done. It was such an adventure
Yeah.
because he got totally back to normal.
Righto.
And so here we are.
How's that? Channel's gnarly at the best of times, right?
Yeah, but that's easy with no rig.
Yeah.
But anyway, then we got back into the Alawai Yacht Harbor, and that was it. That was that adventure.
Wow. And you've had plenty others.
It's the sailing,
Yeah.
always.
Around Tahiti too?
We sailed all around in Tahiti area a lot.
Yeah, Tahiti area.
And we sailed a lot in Honolulu, Molokai, Lanai.
Yeah.
We go to, also we sailed to Fanning Island, which is 1,100 miles away.
1,100 miles?
Yeah.
How long does that take you?
I think we did it in 4 days.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of life on that boat, a lot of lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. And now we live in a time where the best surfer in the world, John Florence, he's out there sailing around as we speak, and that spirit of adventure that you embodied, that you lived, whether it was in the mountains, in the ocean, you were always looking for a good time, and that feeling of exhilaration, and that lives on. That's like the spirit of being a surfer, chasing adventure.
Not everybody, but enough.
Yeah.
So but John was a very unique person. He had a great boat.
Yeah.
It was on Oahu, and he was going to race it to Kauai, and he invited me to go. And I was on his boat with him.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, that's so... What a bringing together of generations.
Yeah, no, he's amazing, and just to be with him was honor, very, very much of an honor.
Oh, I know he would have said exactly the same thing, mate. I as an Aussie, because the Australians generally go to competition. And that's kind of the path to a career in surfing, is through competition. Mm-hmm. But the Hawaiians, even now in this day and age, with Nathan Florence, Jamie O'Brien, Mason Ho, Koa Smith, Koa Rothman, all of these guys are content creators and running their lives, living their lives by their terms. They're not stuck in one mould.
Yeah, sure.
And I used to think in my head that Laird Hamilton was in a way, was the responsible party for that diversified thinking and that ability to see opportunity where the Aussies would just see a heat. And I've came to the conclusion in researching, you the reason, not Laird. Honestly, mate, you set a tone and set a lifestyle and an look at Laird with his Laird Foods.
Yeah,
and you're
sure.
in the chart house, mate.
Sure.
Look at John Florence and his own brand, Florence.
Yeah, of course.
We all, as a collective, learnt from you. And others, of course, you know what I mean? It's a big world of influence.
Yeah, really, a big world, yes.
Yeah, but I want you to understand, from my point of view, that's how I see it. I just used to think it was Laird, and then I researched and went, no, Laird got it from somebody, and when you look back to your... those glory days through the 60s and into the snow and all of the other stuff.
We all lived on Kauai.
Righto.
And,
Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, and Laird.
Yeah, and Laird, yep.
Yep, he grew up kind of there also.
Yep, yep.
So we're all in that same boat together for a bit.
Right. And you showed people how to live, mate. That's a big I don't mean to, blow too much sunshine.
Wait, I was just one of many people.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility. I was just there doing my thing, and I could share my life as I could with whoever and whenever.
Yeah. And it was to all of our benefit. We thank you very much.
Very honourable to say that.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
mate, I mean it by my heart.
Thank you very much.
It's a wonderful life. I'm the same as you. I love it, mate. My dad died when I was 11, and surfing was going to save my life. I was going to give myself a future by riding a surfboard. And I'm 62 now.
Oh, you're just a
and
young
I've essentially, yes. And I've essentially avoided a real job the whole time.
Okay.
Because of the love of the ocean, the love to be free and out in it, and living that lifestyle.
Well, that's great. It is a good one.
Yeah. Any for the youth of the world. I mean, I don't know if you watch politics much or you have much to do with the real world, but the real world, or whatever that is over there, it seems like it's in awkward shape. It doesn't seem like it doesn't feel that full of hope and promise. And I don't know if that's just the media drumming us with that stuff.
We're in a scary situation right now.
You feel like that, Joey? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to go into to talk about it, but it is a scary situation, and we just
feel it too.
Oh no, everybody in America feels it.
Yeah. What would your advice be for young people growing up today in the world they're in and knowing what you know about life and how to live it?
Right.
What do you think you would say to a young kid to help them, find their way?
Just remember, when you're going to school, make sure why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Why you're doing anything, you have to want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't want it, you're going to have your surfboard with no fin.
That's right.
Out of control.
And you have to dip your toe or your heel to turn it from one side to the other. That's what you had to do, right? Before fins?
On the redwood board.
Yeah. Drag a heel or a toe on either side to get it to
turn, exactly.
Change direction. And what I took from the conversation, I heard the word vision several times. We had a vision.
Yeah.
And then you go to this needing to know where you're going or where you want to be. And without that clarity, that vision doesn't have a chance to give you, to happen. Yeah. It's a big learning lesson, mate, to know where you're going and use the creativity in your mind to enjoy it. Mate, I thank you very much. Let me just consult my list and make sure, because I had quite a lot. I think we covered most everything. 17 miles, that's a massive swim, mate. You must have been in incredible shape. Now we live in a time, Joey, where surfing is in the Olympics. And I know that, the ISA's sort of mantra was that was Duke's dream. And what he suggested was surfing should be in the Olympics, and then 100 years later, it's in the... How does that make you feel? What is that?
Well, the idea of anything in the Olympics is honorable, right?
Yeah, totally.
And when surfing finally got in there, to be respectful and to be grateful, we're lucky that happened.
Exactly.
Us surfers are grateful and lucky it happened.
Yeah, it's fantastic, mate. Well, peoples, that's today's show. I've enjoyed the time so much, mate, and I appreciate you taking your time to share it with us, and you have so much to give still, and you still share the stoke and the aloha with people around the world, and it's been a wonderful life, and I thank you for showing us how to live and make the most of our opportunities. Thank you for everything you did, Yana, to help us make this happen. Joey, we love you, mate.
Okay, well, thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much for being part of the show. People, thank you for watching. Respect to the legend. Respect to you. See you next time.